Is it wrong for a woman in her 70s to still long for touch, to be held, to feel alive in her own skin? Maybe you've never said it out loud. But deep down, I believe you've asked yourself that question before. No one warned you that as you grow older, the questions about your body, your feelings, and your desire don't go away. They just become harder to ask. And one of the most isolating feelings for women over 60 is believing that wanting intimacy somehow isn't allowed anymore. Especially when it comes to a topic that rarely gets mentioned directly: oral intimacy. Today, we're going to talk about it. Not to shock you, but to set you free. This video is for you. If you've ever stayed silent, if you've ever thought, "Am I still normal?" If you've ever wondered, "Is it still okay to want this?" You are not alone. And you deserve a conversation that is honest, kind, and deeply respectful. Let me know, where are you watching from today? Your city, your state, or your country? And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe. This is a space where nothing is too personal to be understood. Truth number 1. Desire doesn't retire. Linda, age 74, used to be a librarian in Texas. One afternoon, sitting across from her closest friend at a cozy cafe, she felt her hands trembling around her cup of tea. She hesitated for a moment, then quietly asked, "Do you think it's strange that I still want to feel close? Like, really close?" Her friend didn't laugh. She didn't flinch. She simply smiled gently and said, "Me too." And in that moment, Linda felt as if a heavy weight had lifted. She wasn't ridiculous. She wasn't past her time. She wasn't broken. She was human. Still alive. Still deserving of love and connection. You see, aging may change your body, but it doesn't erase your longing for intimacy. It doesn't erase the memories, the sensations, or the tender spark that still lives in your mind and your heart. Whether you're in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, that spark still flickers. And it deserves to be honored. The problem is, society sends a different message. Once a woman reaches menopause, it's as if she's expected to swap passion for politeness, to give up warmth in exchange for knitting and quiet hobbies, to never speak of things like oral intimacy again. And so, many women stay silent. They don't talk to friends. They don't ask their doctors. Sometimes, they don't even speak to the one person who shares their bed. That silence breeds shame. But here's what I want you to hear loud and clear. You have the right to want, to feel your body come alive, to be touched, to be held. If that's what your soul is asking for. You've lived. You've loved. You've sacrificed. You've carried others through their storms. Now you deserve to be loved, to be seen, to be cared for. So I ask you, just this one thing. Give yourself permission to feel, to want, to say, yes, this still matters to me. Because intimacy isn't reserved for the young. It belongs to the living. And if you're still watching, I invite you to leave a comment below with the number 1. Let it be a quiet promise to yourself that you still believe in closeness. If your heart says yes, but your body is hesitating, keep listening. Because when dryness and discomfort show up, it doesn't mean it's the end. It just means your body is whispering, "Please care for me a little more." Truth number 2. Dryness is common, but it's not the end. Susan, 68, had always been a strong woman. She worked as a nurse for decades. But recently, she found herself pulling away when her husband reached for her hand. It wasn't because she didn't love him. It wasn't because she didn't want to feel close. It was because every time he touched her with tenderness, it hurt. She didn't tell him. She didn't tell anyone. She just stayed silent. And little by little, the intimacy they once shared faded away. Until one day, during a routine checkup, a young nurse leaned in gently and asked, "Have you tried using a non-hormonal moisturizing gel?" Just that simple question lit up something in Susan's heart. That night she cried. Not because of the pain, but because, for once, she felt seen. Here's the truth. After menopause, your estrogen levels drop. That's natural. And when estrogen drops, the delicate tissues of your body lose moisture. What once felt soft, warm, and welcoming can begin to feel tight, dry, or even painful. Especially during oral intimacy, where moisture and gentleness are everything. But this isn't a stop sign. It's not a sign that you're too old. It's simply your body saying, "I need a little extra help." And the good news is, help exists. There are non-hormonal gels available at your local pharmacy. Water-based, plant-based, pH-balanced, made especially for women in their 60s and 70s. It's not about trying to be young again. It's about feeling comfortable again. Drinking water helps too. It hydrates every part of you, including those tender places. And remember, don't rush. Give yourself time. Rediscover what feels good in this stage of life. And if you're still uncertain, talk to a female doctor who truly listens. There are creams. There are therapies. There are kind, gentle options that don't make you weak. They make you wise. You've adapted to so much in life. Adapting your intimacy is no different. It's simply another way of taking care of yourself. If this part speaks to you, comment with the number 2 below. Let it be a quiet reminder that comfort is still possible. Because once you feel ready in your body and your heart, there's another truth waiting, one that often goes unnoticed. Hygiene. Let's talk about it next. Truth number 3. Hygiene matters more than you think. Deborah, age 74, started feeling an itch after moments of intimacy with her longtime partner. Not full intercourse, just gentle, quiet closeness between two people who still loved each other deeply. At first, she thought it was just part of getting older. But soon came the burning. Then discomfort that wouldn't go away. And finally, a visit to the clinic she had hoped to avoid. This time, her doctor didn't dismiss her concerns. She looked Deborah in the eyes and asked gently, "Are you and your partner engaging in oral intimacy?" Deborah froze. No one had ever asked her that. Not once. Not in 4 decades of doctor's visits. Then the doctor said, "It's more common than you think. But if we don't talk about it, it can lead to problems." Here's the truth. Bacteria from the mouth can be transferred directly to the vaginal area. And while your immune system may have handled it easily when you were younger, it may now need a bit more help. Simple things like mouth care, personal hygiene, even the underwear you wear, can make a big difference. And one of the most dangerous myths is this: no penetration means no risk. But that's not true. Herpes, HPV, yeast, even urinary tract infections can spread through oral contact. And because no one talks about it, most women don't know how it happens. But you don't need to live in fear. You just need to know how to care for yourself, gently and wisely. Start here. Both you and your partner should rinse your mouths with water or gentle mouthwash before being intimate. Use a pH-balanced cleanser for your intimate areas. Stay away from harsh soaps or fragrances. Always wipe front to back. Wear clean, breathable cotton underwear. Avoid lingering moisture. If you wear dentures, remove and clean them properly. Bacteria can hide in places you wouldn't expect. And if your partner smokes, understand this: smoking changes the chemistry of the mouth. It increases the bacterial load. This isn't about being paranoid. It's about being prepared. It's about treating your body with the same care you give to the people you love. When hygiene is treated not as a chore, but as an act of kindness, intimacy becomes safer, more comfortable, and more enjoyable. If this resonates with you, type the number 3 in the comments. It's a simple way to say, I care about my well-being. Because when you're emotionally and physically ready, there's still one more truth we need to face. One that people rarely speak about, but one that matters just as much. Sexually transmitted infections can still happen, even now. Truth number 4. STIs don't retire. After her husband passed away, Martha, age 67, spent nearly 5 years living with grief. Then, at a church gathering in Arizona, she met David. Gentle eyes, warm smile. Widowed too. They started spending time together, holding hands, dancing slowly, sharing quiet meals, and eventually sharing something more. It was all so natural, so soft, so right. Until one day, Martha visited her doctor about persistent irritation and heard words she never thought she'd hear again at her age. You've tested positive for genital herpes. Her mind spun. Herpes? At her age? You may have thought the same. That STIs only happen to young people. That once you're past 50 or 60, you're somehow safe. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Sexually transmitted infections don't care how old you are. In fact, STIs among older adults are rising. And here's why. Many seniors no longer fear pregnancy, so they skip protection. Most don't realize oral intimacy can carry risks. And worst of all, many infections show no symptoms at all. They spread quietly, invisibly. We often assume age brings safety, that older partners are trustworthy, that experience equals protection. But infections aren't about age. They're about biology, and they thrive in silence. So what can you do? Start with honesty. If you're dating someone new, or even reconnecting with someone familiar, have the conversation. Ask when they were last tested. Offer to get tested together. It's not awkward. It's respectful. And if your partner resists that conversation, take that as a sign. Next, get informed. Know what to look for. Know which tests check for which infections. Understand that oral contact is not risk-free. Yes, even now, there are dental dams and condoms designed to make intimacy safer, without ruining the moment. And don't let anyone shame you for being cautious. Caution isn't cold. Caution is care. And care is love. Because protecting your health, your whole health, is a form of self-respect. Just as you've learned to speak up for yourself in other areas of life, this too is a space where your voice matters. If this opened your eyes, or even made you pause, comment 4 below. It's a quiet but powerful way of saying, I'm still in charge of my well-being. Now, let's turn to one final truth. One that speaks not to the body, but to the heart. Emotional intimacy. Truth number 5. Emotional intimacy heals. Judith, age 71, had always been the strong one in her family. She handled everything. The kids, the bills, the household. But after a minor stroke, everything changed. Her body didn't move the way it used to. Her speech became slower. But the hardest part wasn't physical. It was feeling invisible in her own home. Her husband, Peter, was still there. Still kind. Still supportive. But between them, something had grown quiet. Neither of them knew how to cross the space between. One evening, with no TV on, no phones in hand, they sat together on the old sofa, in silence. Judith reached out, took his hand. Peter looked over. She looked back. And in that moment, something shifted. No words, no expectations, just presence, just connection, just being seen. At this stage of life, intimacy is no longer just about skin. It's about eyes that listen, arms that comfort, moments that say, "I still see you," and science agrees. Physical touch, even non-sexual touch, lowers stress hormones. It improves sleep. It supports emotional well-being. It eases loneliness. Oral intimacy, when wanted and comfortable, isn't only about pleasure. It's about trust. It's about vulnerability. It's about saying, "You still matter to me." Somewhere along the way, we were taught that kind of closeness has an expiration date. That after a certain age, it's no longer appropriate, no longer needed. But that belief isn't just wrong. It's harmful. Because emotional connection matters more, not less, as we age. As our bodies change. As we say goodbye to loved ones. As our roles shift. We need to feel held. To laugh at a private joke. To sit in silence and know someone is truly there. If you're single, begin gently. Find a massage therapist who specializes in elder care. Join programs where companionship is part of the experience. Talk with a counselor who understands aging and relationships. There is no shame in wanting touch. It's human. And if you're partnered, begin again. Make eye contact. Share a soft memory. Take a long hug. Hold hands. Sometimes, that's all it takes to unlock something you thought was gone. Because in the end, intimacy lives in the heart. And the heart doesn't age out. If this touched something deep inside you, type 5 in the comments. Let it be your quiet way of saying, "I still want to feel close." And before we end today's conversation, let's take one deep breath together. Trunton Toit, and gently reflect on all that's been shared. Conclusion. Let's pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Take a slow breath. And ask yourself, what part of this message stayed with me? Was it the feeling of being understood? The relief of knowing you're not alone? Or simply the quiet hope that maybe, just maybe, you still deserve this kind of closeness? You see, many women past 60 are wondering the same things. But they stay silent. Because society told them not to ask, not to feel, not to want. But you listened. You opened the door. You stepped in. Let's gently recap. 1. Desire doesn't retire. It may change, but it doesn't disappear. 2. Discomfort has solutions. You don't have to live with pain. 3. Hygiene is care. Small habits protect your comfort. 4. STIs are still real. Safety is dignity. 5. Emotional closeness heals. It keeps your heart alive. If any part of this stirred something in you, don't ignore it. Let it guide your next step. Maybe it's a gentle conversation with your partner, a question you bring to your doctor, or simply a look in the mirror where you whisper, "I still matter. You are not broken. You are not too old. You are not past your time. You are a living, breathing woman. And that means you are still worthy of touch, of care, of connection, of love." You don't have to shrink. You don't have to disappear. There is still time. There is still power. And your heart still deserves to be held. If this video made you feel seen, supported, or simply understood, please subscribe. Here, nothing is too personal to talk about. And every senior deserves a safe place to be heard. Because you're not just watching. You are part of this community, a community built on honesty, courage, and healing. Thank you, truly, for spending this time with me. Until next time, stay wise, stay strong, and remember, it's never too late to reclaim your voice.